If I were to summarize how to program realistic snare and toms, it would be this. The slower the drummer is playing, the harder the drummer can hit the drum. As the drummer speeds up in playing, the intensity of the playing gradually starts going down. Throw in sparingly some accents and maybe some quieter hits, and that's really the fundamentals of doing it. But I'm going to go a little bit more in depth and show you in a project that I have open. So this example right here is where the drummer's playing slow and can pretty much hit as hard as they need to. So if we take a look at the velocities. Now, this was recorded on an E-kit, so it really does give you a great illustration of how it should look when you're programming. And, you know, more or less very consistent hits. Now, they look super consistent because on the E-kit, just the way maybe it was calibrated, these hits were originally at 127. I brought them down because 127 will be like the random accented hits that I'll throw in. But you can see recorded performance, random drop in velocity. That's pretty much what I'm talking about as far as these slower hits. So moving on to maybe some more faster hits. All right, we are at a section in the project where we got some faster hits. Let's take a listen. Okay, you get the general idea. Looking at the velocities, they're quieter for the most part. We look over here, they're quieter. We got that random louder hit. We've got that random quieter hit. Kind of like what I was talking about. So if I were to program this, let's just reset this. Do that, make them quieter. Sounds a bit mechanical. Let's go quieter. I mean, it's going to be mechanical until I humanize. So I'm going to humanize. I'm just going to worry about the velocities right now. This was a recorded performance. If you wanted to adjust the timing, I would experiment with 15 milliseconds, randomize, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to randomize the velocities. And if you look here, really good starting point. What I would do, just to add the cherry on top, accent this first hit, because drummers, in my experience, they will accent the first hit. Sounds good. That's basically it. We don't have to like micro edit every little thing. You just want to sparingly add random hard hits and quieter hits. So here we are at a section of the song that has snare rolls, and I'm just going to be upfront with this. Excluding velocities, there's really no way I can show you what's going to work for your tempo. I like to stick to the bottom quarter range, so 45 and below is going to be a good range for snare rolls. It is going to depend on what drum sample library you're using. And if, you know, what I have right here was recorded on an E-kit, so if I were to program this myself, let's just delete this. I would just gradually kind of add random notes, kind of keep them close to the grid. 16th notes kind of works, but if I want to make it a little bit more realistic, you know, going off of what I programmed here, I would add a bit more notes. Maybe some randomness to it. Because snare roll hits, they're not, other than the initial downstroke, I guess you can call it, they're not precise hits. And I'd probably make this quieter. For snare rolls, I like to keep them pretty consistent, but not, you know, exactly the same. Okay, so I'm looping it, and that sounds okay. Let me get rid of the kick. Add one more in. Maybe even it out just a bit more. Oh, maybe we can bump it up a little bit closer to these. Now I'm going to show you why you want to stay in that bottom quarter of the velocities, because once you start getting up here, it's not how a drum roll sounds. So you really have to use your ears, you know, even reference a real drum performance if you have to. And that's a crash course on programming realistic snare and toms. I hope it was helpful. You know, back to the beginning of the video, general rule, the slower the drummer is playing, the harder they can hit. As they play faster, the intensity of how hard they can hit goes down. Now, of course, if it's slower and you don't want it to be as hard, of course, make it quieter, make it fit for the song, but this is everything that you would probably need to record a convincing performance. Anything past this, you know, your average listener probably isn't going to care about. If you like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. That would be super cool if you did. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can monetize. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.